I, along with many others, have been wondering when people are going to hit their limit. And what I'm referring to is the limit of how much they will take when it comes to COVID-19 lockdown and restrictions. Because they're not stopping. It wasn't 15 days to slow the spread. We've gone through an entire year of places trying to shut businesses down, keep them closed. They reopen, they try to shut them down, keep them closed, recommend shut down more. It's been a constant cycle this whole year almost. And here we have another case of someone standing up to the restrictions. We've seen it before with that gym in, I think it was New Jersey. We've seen it with salons, restaurants, different places, all trying to, stand up and keep their business running so they can support their family, right? And continue to keep the economy running, because that's how things work. You have to produce a service or a good to make money and continue to, support your life and continue to live. The government can't just provide for you for the rest of your life out of nothing. That's not how it works. So we go on here to look at a bar owner who was arrested for defying these lockdowns. Let's get into the story. So Governor Andrew Cuomo mandated 10 p.m. curfews at bars. Max Public Ale House, a tavern on Staten Island, stayed open after hours. When the indoor dining was banned in the area because of high coronavirus infection rates, the bar continued to serve local customers inside. When the state suspended the pub's liquor license, the general manager announced a way to skirt the law by serving food and alcohol for free. This was still indoors, but he did this in exchange for donations. And he posted a video to YouTube, telling people to come on down. We're basically giving away alcohol and food, but please donate so we can keep our doors open and continue to do this, right? Trying to find a loophole around it. Keith McClarney, the bar owner, ignored the cease and desist notices and rapidly accruing fines. He said, McClarney painted an orange rectangle outside the front of his store and declared the bar an autonomous zone. He publicly taunted Mr. Cuomo and Mayor Bill de Blasio, whom he called De Bozo, to come down in person and take the license off the wall. But this week, the city and state struck back, making this tavern a flashpoint in the COVID culture wars that have turned some business owners and party hosts into rebels against pandemic restrictions. In New York City, Staten Island has been one of the centers of the rebellion. Yada yada. Okay, it goes on. This here is a picture of where he painted the autonomous zone. And of course, you got a little Cuomo peeking out there. And I find it funny that, granted it was in another city, you had the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. It was entire, few city blocks that were overrun with people that police did absolutely nothing. But then when a restaurant owner stands up and declares his autonomous zone, they're there like that, ready to shut him down. On Tuesday, deputies from the city sheriff office arrested Danny Presti, the bar manager, for obstructing governmental administrations. They led him away in handcuffs, and protesters and loyal customers heckled them. The state senator, from that area was opposed to this. They go on to talk about. And on Wednesday night, protesters, they gathered outside the bar, many holding American flags and shouting chants against Mr. Cuomo. So people are coming out in support of this. They want places to be able to open. They're mad that these authoritarian actions are being taken to shut down people's businesses and livelihood. They're not having it. In an interview on Wednesday, Mr. McClarney said he felt he had to take a stand against a whiplash of restrictions that is hurting businesses like his. I was trying to get their attention so that they would work with the industry instead of being lazy with their decisions and just closing things down. He said this from inside the bar as a phalanx of deputy sheriffs outside kept customers from entering. Because patrons crowd together and talk loudly, health experts have said that the bars have often been major spreaders of the virus, which has killed more than 24,000 people in New York City. Almost as much as heart disease, maybe, or maybe not. But still, McClarney said he was not persuaded that restrictions on the bars were effective in stopping the spread of the virus and questioned the government's role in regulating the gatherings. And I think this is a big one right here, what he says. If you feel that it's not safe to go out, then choose to stay home. Although many bar owners have bridled at the pandemic restrictions inhibiting their business, most have abided by them, often by accommodating drinkers legally outside on sidewalks, street spaces, serving them food, and at the state's insistence. But Mr. McClarney, who said he sunk his life savings into opening the bar a year ago, said he felt compelled to resist the city's bully tactics. They posted their video on YouTube. Yes, we've seen that. It was never mandatory, only requested, McLaren said about the donations. And state officials said that even the free service of alcohol without a license is illegal because they rejected his license. The governor's office criticized McLaren for putting politics over pandemic safety. Let's clarify something real quick here. Him opening his bar is not about politics, and especially not putting it over pandemic safety. Him opening his bar that's his life, that's his livelihood. He's trying to save his business and his, security for the future. And he's not forcing people to come to his bar or any such thing. It is open for people to come to. That is how he is going to support him and his family. And if other people want to do that, they are welcome to come there and support him as well. It has nothing. People can make their own decision when it comes to if they want to go there or not. This owner is learning that the actions have consequences, said Jack Stern, a spokesman for Mr. Cuomo. Breaking the law, it's not the law, and putting your neighbors' lives at risk during a global pandemic to make a political statement is simply unacceptable. Again, it's not the law. Regarding the bar declaring itself an autonomous zone, Mitch Schwartz, a mayoral spokesperson, said COVID-19 doesn't respect autonomous zones, and neither does the sheriff. Well, in that case, it doesn't respect curfew either, or any of the other restrictions you're putting in place, I guess. There are consequences for endangering your neighbors in a pandemic. Mr. Presti's arrest came shortly after several plainclothes deputies sat down inside and ordered food and alcohol in exchange for a mandatory donation of $40. They observed the other patients were doing the same, and the city sheriff, Joseph Busito. Deputies then issued appearance tickets for multiple violations of city and state laws and ordered Mr. Presti to leave. When he refused, he was arrested, and it goes on here. Just talks about the zones and the capacity limits they put on. So, again, another story of someone rebelling against the lockdown and the state trying to shut them down. We have something similar going on in Los Angeles. I know this is dragging on here. I'm just going over all the stuff that is still happening with regards to these lockdowns. Los Angeles' new COVID lockdown bans most walking, driving, and use of public transport. The Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti issued an order for residents to stay at home, warning the city is approaching a devastating tipping point in its fight against COVID-19 that would overwhelm the hospital system. We must minimize contact with others as much as possible. Steps were needed to avoid risking needless suffering and death. The order, which supersedes from June. Okay. So it's similar stuff, more lockdowns, more restrictions. Whereas you have places like Florida, where they are saying no more lockdowns, no face mask mandates, and it's completely the opposite end of the spectrum. In Florida, he said that they should not expect any more lockdowns or state mask mandates during the coronavirus pandemic because he does not believe these work. Again, with regards to that, just saying he doesn't believe they work, I mean, that's not a very compelling argument. You should probably cite something there or explain why you do not believe this, perhaps, but he's at least citing on the side of freedom for people to do what they want with their businesses and whatnot. Businesses, I suppose, could still impose a mask thing if they so wished, but again, each place should look at information on masks, where they can find it, and see if those actually work or not. So, epidemiologists recommend the community use of face masks because the coronavirus is transmitted mostly by respiratory droplets and people generate. Okay, we've heard that all before. DeSantis said that people in Florida wear them when they go out. I don't think you have to be strung up by a bayonet to do it. Fining people is totally overboard. Mayors in South Florida, both Republicans and Democrats, disagree with DeSantis and want to be able to enforce the guidelines and restrictions to help save the lives of the most vulnerable people in their communities. No, thank you. Please don't. I'm sure people can handle themselves and don't need the government to save them. Researchers have found face mask mandates a massive and sustained scale-up of capacity, and lockdowns have been fundamental in preventing an explosion in the number of cases, according to the CDC. The lie of the lockdown is that if you just lock down, then you can beat the virus. This is what DeSantis said. Then why are people having to lock down 2 or 3 or 4 times? People arguing back at him. But there's other states jumping on board. Texas and I think Georgia or Alabama, I can't remember, all said they were not planning on reinstituting lockdowns and doing this little song and dance all over again. So you have states and cities that are going to be instituting this, like New York, the bar, or Los Angeles. You have states like Florida, Texas, that are not going to be doing the lockdowns. And we will see how this plays out. Again, that's not really the government's job there to jump in and shut down your livelihood with regards to what you can and can't do with your business. You start forcing people and you go kidnap people and you bring them into your place of business, then we might have a problem. But them trying to put all these restrictions on you for opening, especially with the statistics on COVID-19 right now, doesn't seem very constitutional to me. But hey, this is just a news segment, so go have a look at the Constitution and see if you think that is, what these guys should be doing. Other than that, thank you guys for tuning in. This is the last segment of the day. We will see you all tomorrow. Have a good one. Hey guys, thanks for checking out the show. This is our regular news portion of the show that runs Monday through Friday with multiple segments a day. If you would like to check out a more in-depth, research-based, and opinion-based show where we talk about issues more in depth, we have those on Wednesday nights and Saturday nights. Be sure to tune in for those specials or just the regular news segments whenever you can. If you guys could subscribe or leave a like, that always helps. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.